Today's deck list was sent to me as White Jund, which should very clearly tell you where our play patterns are going. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and we've got one from Scott that I was asked to play as is. This is the aforementioned White Jund deck list, which is very much a Death and Taxes style deck, but there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of spice in here. And these Yorion decks are a little bit of a pain to get on the screen at the same time, so I'm going to cover the mana base real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and just shove all the lands in one column and make this a little more parsable. The mana base is what I would describe as greedy, despite the fact that it is a mono white deck. If you take a look here, there's a lot of utility lands jammed into this core. This deck has Ghost Quarter, Rashadan Port, and Wasteland all at the same time, while also making room for a copy of the pseudo Maze of Ith Kor Haven, Meticulous Archive, a playset of Karakas, a playset of Flagstones, and a singleton Aganjo. As a Yorion deck, you can have room for a decent number of lands. Mathematically speaking, the 60-card D&T decks weren't really even playing enough white sources, so looking at like some ETB white sources and a very, very large number of color sources, I am pretty skeptical that this deck casts its cards, but I've been asked to play this one as is, so we'll see whether or not I'm right. The large number of colorless lands has me worried, as this deck does have a decent number of white pip cards. There's a lot of spice here, so you can see that there's room for some game 1 graveyard hate here. And this is more than just a singleton recruiter of the guard target as well. This is, I would not mind naturally drawing these levels of play. We are at 34 lands if you count the Witch Enchanters as lands for that purpose, although they also do things like pitching to Solitude here. And perhaps the most notable thing is an entire playset of Clarion Conqueror in the main deck. This appears to me to be a nod towards Tamiyo, as this is good against every single aspect of Tamiyo. It shuts off the Planeswalkers, it shuts off the clues, it shuts off Tamiyo attacking into Clarion Conqueror to accrue the clues for later. And this is also something that has a decent amount of utility in many, but not all, combo matchups. As this deck was called White Jund, we should expect to do well in long, slow, grindy games, but perhaps not have the largest amount of game versus combo. Skateboard is an interesting choice in a non-Urza's Saga deck. I think a huge part of the appeal of Skateboard is coming in off of Urza Saga, tapping down a thing, equipping it to your second Urza Saga token, and crashing in with both creatures at the same time. And this deck simply is not doing that. It is just playing it as a fair card that you theoretically could tutor up with Stoneforge Mystic. The deck also has Canoptek Scarab Swarm, which we've seen this do some gross things in a few videos on this channel. When it enters, exile target player's graveyard. For each artifact or land card exiled this way, you get a 1/1 colorless insect artifact creature token with flying. It's kind of fascinating to me that we're doing Scarab Swarm without fetch lands to support it. I mean, there are other lands that can go to the graveyard. The Flagstones could legend rule. You do have Wastelands and Ghost Quarters as well. It really feels to me like the fetch lands are a big part of making this really strong. And I think the last notable thing in the main deck here is a tutorable copy of Phyrexian Metamorph. This can do some very, very interesting things in terms of I copy my opponent's Bowmaster, now I ping their Bowmaster. I copy my opponent's Atraxa, now I have one, and I fish up a bunch of cards, and I get a bunch of looks at Karakas and Swords to Plowshares to copy your thing. And you also have, like, All right, I am going to flicker my Metamorph and turn it into something else after I get value with an ETB trigger. There's a lot going on here with the Metamorph. As far as the sideboard goes, the Spiceometer is cranked to 11, with Hour of Revelation, a theoretical 6-mana card that we're hoping to cast for white, 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 that just destroys all non-land permanents, and Sunscour, which you can pay for 7. We probably won't do that. You may exile 2 white cards from your hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost to destroy all creatures. I, generally speaking, don't think I like the sideboard. I talked about a ton of colorless lands already here, and there's 3 white, white Wrath of the Skies, the white, white, white Hour of Revelation in the sideboard as well. I'm a little worried going in that we're not going to be able to cast some of our spells. But that's what playtesting is for, right? So Scott, we're going to give the White Jund a try, and we're going to see what's good here, what's bad here, and see what lessons we can learn. And if you need any Meteor Swords or Metamorphs or Canoptek Scarab Swarms, please consider getting them from my sponsor, TOAmagic.com. I really like those folks. I still have a package from someone who is not TOA that I don't even think has shipped out. I think it's been a month at this point. And I placed an order with TOA, and I think I had it 3 days later, is all that I'm saying. Promo code ThrabenU, save yourself a little bit on the order. Alright, let's battle. By the standards of this deck, this is probably a reasonable looking hand. And accordingly, I will keep it. It just feels like playing Legacy that looks like this is too fair for the current world, though. Like, there's so many decks that just come out of the gates so much faster than turn 1 Stoneforge Mystic. This might be a white card to pitch to a Solitude. I think I'm just going to play Flagstones and pass. I will take 1 from an attack. And in thinking about the sideboard cards for this matchup, Wrath of the Skies is so important, and I can't cast that with the mana that is currently available to me. And Rashadan Port doesn't make a bunch of sense when my opponent is this far ahead, only to get further ahead as time goes on. Let's Stoneforge. It feels like the life gain of Batterskull is very relevant for this current board. Marsh Flats comes down. Hexing Squelcher, sure. Everybody comes to party. And my opponent is going to get a disgusting amount of energy here. And looks like make the Guide of Souls fly. I'm taking 5 damage here. And I'm not going to be able to easily block the Voice of Victory, unfortunately. Devastating. So my opponent can take the Batterskull, flash back with this token, take my Recruiter of the Guard, and it kind of feels like the game is effectively over at that point, even though it'll continue on for a few turns. This is a great draw from my opponent, and exactly what I expected to happen does indeed happen. And the other warrior goes away. Life is awful. Like, I can throw down this flyer, but it's already not good enough to take out the things that I want to be taking out. Another land from my opponent. Another Hexing Squelcher. We're not removing anything ever. Ward of pay 2 life with 2 separate instances is so rough. So this is gonna fly. And as a 3/5 flyer, I don't have effective blocks here. Like, I can take these out, but what am I really hoping to do here? My Yorion isn't going to be... Okay. Absolutely devastating. Yeah, no, we're fully dead here. GG. So, I want these board wipes, right? I want the potential to do this stuff. Permanents that are going to sit around for a while probably don't make sense here with a bunch of board wipes coming in. Containment Priest can probably go. Samurai of the Pale Curtain can probably go. Maybe trim a Thalia from there. Thalia is not overly exciting. Could go with Disruptor Flute as well, but again, if I'm trying to wipe the board, I don't know how much that makes sense, despite the fact that it is good versus Ajani and Goblin Bombardment. Nope. It's just too much mana. There's no action there. Yikes. Yikes. At least I'm on the play. I am unhappy with this. I felt like my 2-mana Stoneforge was too slow last time, and now I have 3 mana cards. Okay, cool. Does this make sense? This probably makes sense. Yeah. I think I'm gonna do that. And then I can take my next turn 2 replacement to do tapped Meticulous Archive. There is an Ocelot Pride that can start getting out of control before I play Skyclave, unfortunately. Yeah. I will say no to that land drop and pass the turn. Ocelot Pride is going to begin being a kitty cat machine. Opponent does have Wasteland and Voice of Victory. Yep. Seems good. Flicker Wisp is kind of mid. Just not really what I'm looking for here. I think Voice of Victory has a higher ceiling. Badlands comes down, giving my opponent access to all 3 of their colors. Well, this could be extremely bad. Orcish Bowmasters. Yeah, that's pretty bad for me. Because my opponent can ping Skyclave, and then I can't block Ocelot Pride. Okay, they didn't do that. Oh, do they just have enough energy to fly? Yeah, because they hit Bowmasters specifically. Yeah, disgusting. So my opponent, are we at City's Blessing? So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, we are at City's Blessing already on turn 4. Yeah. My opponent is at 30 life with that many creatures. I'm doing this. I think I have to remove a creature here. Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride are both problematic. I think I'm taking Ocelot Pride. It kind of feels like if I don't draw one of those board wipes to just clean all of this up at the same time while leaving me with Skyclaves, that I just simply do not win. There is another Amped Raptor or a Thoughtseize. I suspect that I lose Recruiter of the Guard there for its overall potential, and I am correct. This is still 5 energy, so I'm still going to get punched in the face. Oh, just everybody is coming to party. Thanks, I hate it. So this could mean that something like Bowmasters is going to happen and make this awful for me. I'm going to kill cats while I can kill cats, because Ajani is a thing. I am at 7. Okay, yep, nope, opponent is just shoving. These have first strike. So I can do something like Recruiter for Solitude, take out the Guide of Souls, and still get beaten to death by these 2 Amped Raptors. We're gonna work towards this and hope that it happens. Solitude. I'm just gonna do it now. Take out the Guide of Souls and hope for the best. Ant attack into Amped Raptors. First strike. Opponent can now grab a Surveil land. Life's bad. Opponent says no to a Clarion Conqueror. There's an Ajani. That's why I killed cats earlier. Thanks, I hate it. I think I'm going to block, save 2 life, and hope to rip a board wipe. It seems like I'm pretty dead to my opponent just turning everything sideways next turn, even if I have 3 blockers. Yes, that is correct. Hey, I can remove Ajani, have my opponent bounce it. I can Skyclave and Amped Raptor and maybe stay alive. If I just play Clarion Conqueror, I go block, 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 take 1, 2, 3, 4. So Skyclave isn't enough. Or sorry, Clarion Conqueror as blocker isn't enough. The rest of this looks pretty awful. I think I've just been fully run over here. GG. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. So this hand is a great example of what I was talking about with all of the colorless mana sources not being able to cast the spells. This is 3 lands, 3 spells, well, 3 creatures rather, and I can't cast any of those creatures. I think this is an easy mulligan. Believe on 6. Believe in double wasteland on 6. Keep a Phyrexian Metamorph. It's castable off the mana that I have. Very awkward that I have to telegraph wasteland though. It like makes this way worse. Arid Mesa and pass the turn. Never didn't have it. I'm gonna Stoneforge Mystic here. I don't have pre-war Formalware as a part of this package, unfortunately. I think I'm getting Batterskull over Meteor. Sword. I think there's a decent chance that we see some sort of swords or lightning bolt. Take out my Stoneforge Mystic. And then this is reasonably hard castable. Copy our Batterskull with Phyrexian Metamorph as this game goes on. Untapped Plateau. And exactly what I expected. This is probably the same matchup as what we just played. And we just fully got overrun in it. There is an Ajani. We can Phyrexian Metamorph it, and then my opponent can Karakas our Ajani Metamorph back to hand. That's a thing. How do I feel about double wastelanding my opponent? It feels like I am working towards this. I am going to make the questionable play. Copy. Trigger. There's a cat. Marsh Flats will give my opponent access to all of their colors if they are indeed Mardu, which it seems like they are. This Cabal Therapy card is some horse shit. Makes my whole Batterskull Stoneforge Mystic plan that I've tried to rely on in both matchups very bad. So now my opponent should... Okay, they're not going to. But they could absolutely just go and... Oh my god, they hit another Cabal Therapy. So they can take my Solitude immediately, and then next turn Karakas bounce my Ajani, flash back Cabal Therapy, and take my Phyrexian Metamorph as well. I hate this. Yeah, I will be eating that. I can't really block that. Down to 17. Oh, they were just doing it now to make the Planeswalker. Totally reasonable. Naming +2 mace. And they do have another thing, so I lose my Metamorph this way. Alright, that accomplishes the same sort of thing that I was already worried about. This is not a castable card unless I Ghost Quarter myself. It just feels like I'm dead to this deck. It's so much faster than I am, and its mana is so much more consistent than my mana. I've already lost my Batterskull. I'll lose another creature to this. I can Yori into hand. That Yorian's not really castable. I guess let's play on. No, as soon as I put this to hand, I lose it to fucking Cabal Therapy. We're fucking dead. Alright. My opponent is so much faster than I am. It is ridiculous. So we did bam, 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 bam before. So this is kind of what I'm talking about in terms of mana, where like these colorless lands have such a strong cost in terms of curving out. I guess I can play Flagstones, Swords something, Float White, Ghost Quarter myself, and still play this on turn 2. Doesn't feel great to have to jump through that hoop. But here we are, trying to make the best of it. Arid Mesa comes down, and I'm potentially losing my swords here, which is the best card in my hand. Not close. Oh no, I'm wrong. My turn is just not good. I will Ghost Quarter myself. Yes, I will use this ability. I will grab a basic Plains. And now I can do this to search the Meticulous Archive. Sure. This is very awkward. If I don't end up using a swords this turn, I could end up in a spot where there's 2 swords in my hand for Cabal Therapy purposes, which is incredibly awkward. Plateau comes down. That's very awkward in terms of my mana, because I can either play Clarion Conqueror or Swords of Voice of Victory. If I don't Swords the Voice of Victory immediately, I leave Cabal Therapy as something that could be devastating. So I think I am playing around that Cabal Therapy worst case scenario, although I should have tapped this land and left open the one that cannot be wastelanded. Alright, it is a Thoughtseize rather than a Cabal Therapy. Well, opponent is at least in the tank about it. There is a Wasteland. There's an Amped Raptor. What are we doing? For Ajani. Thanks, I hate it. I'm not gonna Swords until I see if I draw something that is a sweeper. Does that change my mind? Do I just take this out? I think I'm just gonna do this. Tapped wrong again. I need to lock in here. A very bad mistake. A Caracas comes down, which is the punish for not using Swords to Plowshares immediately on the Ajani. With the Clarion Conqueror in play, that matters a lot less, though. So here's exactly what I was talking about in not leaving up the basic planes. I'm gonna let them go ahead and change phases. Now I don't have access to white for Skyclave because my mana base is greedy. So this indicates that my opponent has Orcish Bowmasters. Otherwise, this attack doesn't make sense. If I lose this body and Ajani goes unchecked, I probably just die. So I think I can't block here. I will go to 18. Notably, I can't even activate. Well, yeah, no, I can't. No, I can activate the Kor Haven. It's just at the cost of doing anything else. Rough. All right, at least I can Sword Ajani while Caracas is tapped. All right, new flagstones. I will take out Ajani. I think I'm going to put the Yorion into my hand right now and try to work towards a timeline where that becomes good. We have seen 2 discard spells already. It's turn 5. I'm still at 18 life. I'm about to take 3. Things could be worse. Maybe I can turn the corner on this one still. Excuse me, I'm about to take 4. The 2/1 cat token, not a 1/1 cat token. All right, I lose out on Ghost Quarter. Can't do the Flagstones thing again. All right, here is a first striker of my own. I will blow up my Flagstones. There's basic planes. And I've already used my Meticulous Archive, so that's that. Gonna be the Bowmasters that I was expecting, I assume. Yep. So a decent portion of this is going to come down to, do I end up top decking better than my opponent from here? Am I just trading? I think not yet. That holds back these other 3. So I save some life by having this around. Alright. This is not great. So we're going to do this. And the Skyclave is going to kill 2 of my opponent's creatures. Well, I suppose they could let me keep this. Yeah. Okay. So the second Skyclave trigger now goes off, and then the first Skyclave trigger does. So I have taken out the Goblin Bombardment and some creatures. I'll hold White Orchid Phantom back. I can keep my opponent off of main phase black for the purposes of taking my Yorion with discard. I will let them hit me one more time with this. Then maybe start stabilizing the board with Yorion. I've got a Caracas to work through, which is a problem. I guess I will just blank White Orchid Phantom and kill the Caracas. Yeah? Opponent to 15. There's Yorion. Blink this. Move to end step. Convert Caracas into a basic. Definitely worried about just bleeding out from 9 here. 4 Bowmasters. Got it. So that brings me to 8. Without mathing it out, it feels like I die next turn if my opponent just turns all of their creatures sideways. I block 6 power in theory, take 3, 4, 5. Maybe not actually factually dead. Might have to hold up Kor Haven to get Trixie. That seems good. I need to cast it on my own turn because of Voice of Victory. I imagine that Voice of Victory is the scariest thing over there still because of its synergy with other deck pieces. And I think I need to hold the fort down. There are still Goblin Bombardment style draws that are very scary. Yeah, that's the exact card for why I removed Voice of Victory. Yes. All right. It looks like we are stabilizing now. Just thinking about flickering Yorion instead. I don't think I get to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and just flicker Solitude. Have this come back. Take out Guide of Souls. I imagine that once I play this Felia, I'm probably good. Alright, great. Yeah. Oh, what does that do? What 2 mana things can I do that I can play immediately? Containment Priest, Stoneforge. Containment Priest is not currently in the deck. Without thinking about it too much, seems like I play this. Pick up something like Stoneforge. Play something like Stoneforge. I think the life total is the concern. Go to combat. Oh wait, hold on. This is an end of turn trigger as well. I think I've got the ground held down sufficiently. Let's just start conservatively swinging in. I think I had better ways to play out this turn. Opponent to 14 is Bowmasters. You can kill my Flicker Wisp. Killing my Recruiter. Yeah, sure, that's totally reasonable as well. Amped Raptors are keeping my Solitudes from gaining life, but I'm about to get access to Batterskull, so I think that's fine. Oh, Caracas Yorion is kind of gross here. Alright. Bam, bam, bam. Opponent will take all of that. Bounce Yorion. Do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move to end step. All this stuff happens. I'll mess with one of your lands, I guess. I will Flicker Wisp my Solitude. I will Solitude an Amped Raptor. Then let all these triggers go through. Blow up Badlands. Ooh, that was land destruction. Get Meteor Sword. Opponent fetches to 6. And surveils. Says no to a land. Alright. Now Solitude comes back. I will nuke an Amped Raptor with that. 4, 7, 8, 9 in the air is just lethal. I also just have any number of other things that I can do here. Like Meteor Sword, a body, go to combat, send in with everybody, Felia out, the Orc Army token, and we're done here. So that was a little tight in the middle there, but obviously we're White Jund, right? So we will pick up a large amount of steam over time. As the innately larger Yorion deck, we are not great at just naturally drawing things like this without any manipulation since our deck is so big. That's just life. Okay, I mean, here is one of our targeted sideboard cards, but I have a colorless land, which makes this way worse than normal. I might just keep this hand anyway. On the back of Elia blinking Skyclave and having a, honestly, probably Hour of Revelation to pitch to a Solitude. Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride. Got it. Yeah. Pass turn, and then we decide whether or not I am trying to do something better than Solitude, the Ocelot Pride. I think I take the 1 before I decide. 19. Next land drop. Amped Raptor. Yep. Alright, that's a Swords to Plowshares. That's a miss. Are there going to be 10 or more non-land permanents in the near future? Probably not, unless I let Ocelot Pride get out of control. I think I will just Solitude, pitching Hour of Reckoning, and pay my price of 1 life to not let it do its thing. I'm gonna pass the turn with the intention of playing a Felia. Seems good. I will absolutely take 2 here. I'm glad my opponent attacked with that. My turn is actually probably worse on average if they don't. Now I get to do this. Potentially blink out that token. Alright. Yeah. Keep this one. Say yes. Get a basic. 1, 2, and 3. I think I am okay with Flicker Wisp here. Flickering out Cat Warrior token. Go to combat. Send in with Felia. Flickering Flicker Wisp. And this is mostly to grow my creature, if I am being honest. Opponent goes to 18. Now, we're going to, air quotes, return the cat token. That's not actually happening. And I think I'm just going to flicker out my opponent's white source rather than their black and red source. And I'm trying to wiggle this into a position where I am the beatdown, attacking for 6 or so damage. There's also a line where I end up flickering my Ghost Quarter and Ghost Quartering my Flagstones to Surveil, which is why I didn't do the Plains, the Surveil land originally here. I will take 2, but I could have taken the Surveil land since I didn't end up doing the Ghost Quarter line. Alright, which enchanter is not overly exciting here? I think I am just Rishadan porting my opponent. I am the beatdown. I'm not going to blink anything here, I don't think. Alright, opponent to 10. So is this Strip Mine? Opponent did not search the previous game. Okay, it is Strip Mine. I'll call it good there. I will tap down this land. Bam, bam. Alright, opponent is still turning both sideways. So I am going to turn this into a land, I think. I will go in for 6. I'm not blinking anything. And I think I'm going to continue to port my opponent rather than put Yorion into my hand. Yeah. Alright. So there's 1 win and 1 loss to energy. In the first match, we just fully got overrun. And in the second match, my opponent stumbled enough that I had time to get set up. GG. Alright, we've got a Yorion mirror match. My hand does not feel great for a Yorion mirror match. Karakasable, 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 no good target, mana, no mana to cast this. And the Thalia tax is probably not very relevant. I think I just say no. This is, I suppose, better. I will keep this and pitch one of the Clarion Conquerors. I still would like this hand to improve more. I think we just get what we get here. Let's put some pressure on this as a Surveil land. The opponent doesn't just fetch and Surveil and get that immediate value. And then they can do something on their own turn. Tundra. Oh, are we Esper-viling? Like we are Esper-viling. I'm just going to take this moment to resolve my dog. Baleful Strix is kind of awkward for me. The Death Touch is good. Get out of there. Unfortunately, like, I can't cast this off of my remaining stuff. I have a line where I do this first. No, both of these enter tapped. Yeah, both of those enter tapped. So no targets for Felia, and then I will probably attack the black land here to protect my follow-up creatures from discard. Either one of these that I port, my opponent can Swords to Plowshares with, so that's not a consideration. Opponent does hit their next land drop, and they have Overlord. Is that Aang? That is Aang. Opponent grabs Meddling Mage. Meddling Mage Yorion, and no one can have fun blinking things. I guess I'm doing this. I don't feel great about the hoops that I am jumping through here to make my mana work. And then Meticulous Archive. Okay. That is another Overlord. My opponent gets so much value here. Blast Pool Mimic in the mana base. Yep. Seems good. Flooded Strand comes down as well. It seems like my opponent is going to vastly overvalue me. They just have 3 colors worth of the best cards, and I have 1 color, and it's white. Meddling Mage resolves. Opponent names Stoneforge Mystic. Reasonable. And then these tick down. The Blinking Solitude is how I probably end up beating these later on, if I can. Just thinking about how I'm using my mana in the meantime. I have to worry about this getting blinked, and then my Yorion gets shut off. I think accordingly, I am just going to put this into play immediately. Make it look like I have a Stoneforge Mystic. Maybe that gives me some other benefits. Opponent to 16. I'm just not sure how I am going to beat this deck long term when they have like Strix and Overlord that I have to contend with. And Solitude. And Quantum Riddler. But whatever this is, I don't like it. It is Quantum Riddler. And we knew that sort of thing was potentially coming. So then there's a Glasspool Mimic copying it. Alright, opponent is cooking. And like these are also ticking down. The Clarion Conqueror Aether Vial combo. Classic. So Yori into hand. I think I'm going to port my opponent and hope to play Yori and Blink Solitude, get Quantum Riddler out of play, and go from there. Black, black, white, 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 blue, blue. Alright, doesn't matter too much what I go after. This stuff just dodges Skyclave, which is very inconvenient as well. I guess Aang also does stuff with Quantum Riddler, right? So, play Quantum Riddler for 2, Aang it, then you can cast it for 2 to get another card draw. Yeah, the opponent's deck is kind of sweet. Alright, there Yorion goes to hand. Like, I'm just going to have so much trouble with the late game of this deck. The Overlords are coming, the Yorions are coming. I don't have counter spells. My opponent does have counter spells. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. Sad turn 7 Aether Vial. In for 5. Oh god, it's swords too. Alright. That's bad. Now I don't have Yorion Solitude to answer this. So I can take my opponent off of main phase black with a double Wasteland and port. This also takes them off of 5 mana. But I'm just gonna get beaten down by Quantum Riddler and Overlord. Okay. And that solves both the black mana and the 5 mana potentially for next turn. Ugh. My Clarion Conqueror is not good here. My Skyclave's not good here. My Yorion's not good here. I just feel dead. I think I'm going to let the Overlord attack so I can look at a few more cards, but I think my opponent cleanly has this. I just don't know how I wiggle through this much endgame. And I imagine that my opponent's deck gets better, more efficiently than my deck does as we proceed to the post-sideboard games. Like, now I can't do any Trixies on my opponent's turn. Yeah, okay, there's the Solitude. So now my opponent has pitch cast Solitude, pick it back up every turn. I think I am willing to tap out there. GG. What the fuck am I doing with my life here? Like, is the Overlord endgame so good that I want to play Rest in Peace? I don't really want to play Rest in Peace. I'm not a big fan of Skyclave versus all of my opponent's 5 cost stuff. This stuff doesn't seem reasonable. It feels like Rest in Peace is about the best that I can do. So we do something like you, 2 of you. I don't know if that's actually reasonable. I don't feel good about this. Alright, I have a mediocre opening hand here. I don't think it's worth mulliganing or anything, but I'm not going anywhere quickly. The self-target via flagstones helps, I guess. So we get 1 basic plains, and then the actual flagstones one can be the Meticulous Archive. That will secure 5 to hardcast a Solitude. I'm fine keeping that, even though I'm not really excited about more mana. I think I just take it. You could do something like Thalia and Port, Thalia and Felia. I have options. At least this game I have a first striker, so Baleful Strix is slightly less annoying. Hey, Baleful Strix. Baleful Strix. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm just going to resolve this while I know this resolves. And be slightly sad if my opponent has something like Toxic Deluge. In for 2. Opponent to 17. 3rd land drop. Skyclave. Oh, taking out Thalia. Alright. That smells to me like Force of Will. That smells to me like Force of Will. I think we're going life for this. And I try to get the Force of Will with this card rather than Solitude. I fail. I'm into this. Junk your Skyclave with it. Yeah. Yeah. Nah. Just this. I'll remove this next turn. Play port. Port down. The color, that's different. Okay, it was a Brainstorm that my opponent wanted to free from their hand, not a Force of Will. In regards to removing the Thalia. Basic Plains comes down. That's a Quantum Riddler. My opponent consigns that trigger. I probably have to remove Oh, nope, it's just gone. Great. 2, 4, 5, 6. This is like very close to castable. I can also just channel on Baleful Strix. I think I'm into casting this. Take out the Strix. Okay. I was not expecting that because this happened already. In. I think I'm willing to say in here. It gives my opponent a 3/3, but I can just attack with Thalia and get rid of it. I think I'm good with this. That's all fine. And I'm like 50-50 on whether or not I should play this as a land to work towards Meteor Sword Thalia versus just use it as a spell. More Brainstorm. There's Overlord. Containment Priest and Strix in there. Getting Containment Priest. Which does weird things with Thalia. Overlord starts ticking down. That's totally reasonable. I think I'm just turning everybody sideways and using the Thalia trigger to kill this illusion token. Opponent can play Containment Priest. Presumably go to blocks here. No, on Solitude. I mean, I'm just going to say no regardless. Yeah. Opponent to 5. I think this is enough on board that I just port my opponent. They have 1 black source. Let's say no to that. Wasteland is fine. This is why I left up the basic as opposed to this land. We at least want to represent that we can cast spells, even if we actually can't. There's a Quantum Riddler. All right. An opponent is going to copy it. Draw another card there. And then concede. GG. So, decisive victory for my opponent, decisive victory for me. I still think my opponent is very, very favored as these things go long. I don't think I'm changing anything. I am going to believe in my deck to spit up some reasonable Magic the Gathering cards to make this Aether Vial good. It is possible that I am far enough down the aggro side in this matchup that I shouldn't do this. And I just need to keep hands that are more aggressive before my opponent gets to their endgame. But theoretically, I can start working towards things like Aether Vial, Karakas Yorion from very early on. Vial goes up. I think I'm just going to play that uncounterably next turn. Last turn. Having the swords available limits some of the worst case scenarios that can happen. Like my opponent getting one of these unchecked. I'm not into letting that happen. Land drop 3 comes down. Alright. I can Solitude that if I want. I don't really have a piece of equipment that I desperately need to cast immediately. I think I can just let this tick up while like playing a Stoneforge Mystic. And that's alright. It does open up a counterspell on Stoneforge, which I was trying to play around. But I think I am into hard casting my creatures. Basic Plains, Stoneforge, alright, Resolving. I'm going to get the more castable Batterskull rather than the higher upside Meteor Sword. 3 mana, backup Clarion Conqueror. Understood. That means that I can't just like Solitude this and then activate my abilities. I will take this hit. That is Glasspool Mimic as a land. File goes up. Cotton Port's kind of whatever. I think what I'm going to do, put Yori into hand. While my opponent can't counter this with something like Consign, I'm just going to take out one of these, swing in for my 1, and then maybe have the hope of taking out the other one of these and then doing Batterskull crimes that take over the game. I also just could cast the Batterskull. My opponent's Yori into hand, sure. I will keep this going up, I think. That's not great. Yeah. Attempt this. Full cost. It resolves. In with Stoneforge. 22. Opponent will punch me back for 3, and then hopefully I start netting life in these turns. There's an Aether Vial from my opponent. Sure. Vial to 5. Recruiter is cool. I think I'm in for just this. I don't think I'm going to send in the Stoneforge immediately. And then go bam, bam, bam for the Recruiter. Say yes. I am doing Skyclave, playing Skyclave, taking out Clarion Conqueror, and then I can play around end of turn Thalia. Hey, it's Thalia. Yeah? Yes. Solitude. Say no to that. No consign. 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 incoming. I don't expect that to be the reality of the situation. But without my Yorion as a thing that I have to care about, I can maybe throw away a body or two on attacks and just trade with Strix. The Skyclave is a little awkward in that if my opponent swords a Skyclave and then gets a 3/3 body, my attacks get way worse. We are still playing Magic the Gathering here, I think. Wasteland. Alright. As a starting point, let's take that out. Cool. In with you and you? I don't know that I care if you die. I don't know that I care if you die. Alright. Trade with Solitude. Opponent goes to 14. I'm going to pass here and just hold this vial rather than play it out. Take my opponent off of white here. And if I leave open at least 3 mana at all times, I can have Batterskull bounce for some of the worst case scenarios. Okay, white mana was not needed. Other colors could be. Probably isn't land destruction. I'll hold here. Rest in peace. Got it. Now I think I'm just full sending. Opponent to 6. There's rest in peace. Combo with flagstones as well. Their vial goes up. I think I'm still going to be attacking white mana here. That helps cast Yorion. This does drop my Batterskull bounce, though. I've made Overlord worse. Alright. Tundra. It is Wrath of the Skies. So that leaves my opponent dead on board unless I have Solitude. Because I just equipped the Batterskull. So if my opponent removes this, they can get a blocker for this. So I think I'm moving this right here. Yeah. In we go. It is Solitude on the Skyclave. So that gives them a body they can block with, but I've already done this in a way where my opponent doesn't kill my recruiter. Did that pitch Yorion? Yes, that did. Okay. I can take my opponent off of blue-blue. I can take them off of single black. This can represent multiple blockers. Let's make it so that they can't cast Bowmasters if they draw it this turn. Might have a good old-fashioned grind fest with Batterskull. Just a 3 mana, pick it up, redeploy it. My Rest in Peace combos are so strong. Alright. Goodbye black mana. Goodbye blue mana? Get the Tundra here. I'm expecting that one to be Strip Mine. I'm correct. Or nuke your graveyard, making 2 insects. And then I can, in theory, Batterskull equip an insect next turn and just have lethal. That black mana turns Bowmasters back on, which is kind of annoying. So, bam. Attempt that. Is another Solitude. Sure. I'm fine going in for 2. I'm just going to re-equip Batterskull. I may get punished. This game may go on long enough that not having Vial on 2 for Thalia could be relevant. I could have played it last turn. It's at 1 now, and then Thalia is free. I was kind of expecting things to be over, to be honest. I was trying to maintain some degree of mystery. That's great, but I am fine continuing to just say, can you deal with this? And as soon as the answer is no, I basically win. Dang! Alright. So that fizzles that. This flies, right? Yes. So my opponent will be able to attack up to 8 life. Hopefully they just kind of miss a card for a turn, and I just have time to take over the game. Meteor Sword is potentially very strong. They keep the card on top. Not what I want to see. Solitude comes in. I eat that damage. So presumably there's just something that answers my Batterskull equip. I think I'm just not doing that. Something is now happening. Opposition Agent. I guess at least I know now. Ooh, this is a May. I guess I say no. Now, I just equip. Have a very large body. We're going to go better late than never on the vial. In for 5 in the air. Opponent to 3. I am at 31. I have the advantage of life total here. I do not have the advantage of time. Okay, that's great for me. Stupid vial is going to eat some of my clock as well. All right, cool. In. Opponent has to block with Aang here. Yep. Then hopefully I just finish things off next turn. You have 0 cards. What is this? Oh, it's the Waterbend side. I don't know what that does. Transform. 5/5 Reach Trample. Okay. Got it. So then, doesn't matter which way I do this, because I can't do anything else anyway. Do this. Yeah, things have never drug on long enough that the Waterbend thing has been relevant in the games that I have played with Aang. That's another card on top. 7 mana. This is a Wrath of the Skies? It is a Wrath of the Skies. Doesn't that kill my opponent? Oh, no, they're just doing it for a small number. I see. I thought they were going to try to get rid of my Batterskull. This is a May, right? This is a May. Say no. Hold open. Bounce this rather than port my opponent. All right, everybody can hit me. That's okay. We're just going 5. Stop it. Yep. I get cracked back for 8. Down to 13. 1, 2. Blow up some land. Equip. 4, 5. This is some good honest magic. That is an Overlord. Can get back a Meddling Mage. The lifelink vigilance creature is slightly less good here. I just send in. This has first strike. Yeah. Alright, opponent just eats it. I'm gonna remove that. Call it good. I maybe don't have time to port. Meddling Mage resolves. There's some timelines where it just names Batterskull so that I can't bounce it and pick it back up. That might just be the sort of game that we are in. White Orchid Phantom. Sure. Ghost Quarter. In we go. Opponent takes that. I will blow up a land. Pass. Sure. Opponent surveils. Need something that answers my White Orchid Phantom. Elia is not it. We are going to tap down lands. So my creature flies. The opponent needs their top deck to answer my White Orchid Phantom. It is a pair of Consigned to Memories as the final 2 cards. That is not going to do it. Very good match. Slog of a match. GG. We have a positive record now. All right. The best Aether Vial hand ever, where I can shut it off 2 different ways with Containment Priest and Clarion Conqueror. I don't imagine that I keep this one. My Vial is not functional to play major portions of my hand. And I don't have enough mana to start like putting Yorion into my hand, casting stuff like this. This is just so slow. I am rewarded with a hand that cannot cast White Orchid Phantom. I think I am keeping anyway and binning this card, hoping for the best. No Covered Mountain, Goblin Welder. Understood. I will almost certainly be using Swords to Plowshares on that card. I can probably wait until my opponent's turn. Urza's Saga. Sure. Yes. Thanks, I hate it. Let's just take this out immediately. Then maybe we can do some Stoneforge Meteor Sword stuff to answer Corey Steelcutter. Or Batterskull, I guess. So I'm less excited about those prospects. I'm upset about it. I think I'm upset about it. The construct tokens are a problem. Alright, you do have blue in your deck as well, which is not unexpected because of Sewer Valence Cam. Volcanic Island comes down. I just need to use my mana here. I don't know that I'm willing to take the 2 or so points of damage to wait on that. Emery, okay, got it. Metamorph is very interesting. Say yes. I think this is Meteor Sword. And I have lines where I end up copying Meteor Sword or copying Stoneforge to then get Batterskull. There's been a lot of must-answer permanents here. Emery, Corey Steelcutter, Urza Saga, Goblin Welder. My opponent's deck is just gasoline. Seems strong. I will eat some damage here. And I'm just kind of generally unhappy about the state of my life total. So I probably start here. Meteor Sword Emery. By Meteor Sword Corey Steelcutters, they just come back. And then I can start looking at trying to stabilize the board with something like Batterskull. I might... Ugh. The hits just keep coming here. So, Surveillance Cam as well. And that's just purely to be the second spell for this turn. Opponent's deck is fucking sweet. Something's happening with it on the stack? Oh, I see. They are just using Metallic Rebuke to trigger Prowess. Yeah. Seems good. Am I just dead? Wow. So I interacted with Swords, Ghost Quarter, Meteor Sword, and died despite that on turn 5? Ugh. Alright. Presumably these are good. Presumably these are good. Then we start getting into some of the slightly more questionable ones after that. Disruptor Flute's also not crazy, but get worse if I'm trying to board in things that look like this. I'm going to get rid of Containment Priest. I'm going to get rid of Skateboard. This does nuke Baubles and Corey Steelcutters going to Graveyard. How do we feel about Thalia? Thalia's okay. Thalia really works against Wrath of the Skies, though. We need 2 more cuts if I want to play everything here. I could get rid of Metamorph for being slow and costing life. Then maybe trim one singular piece of endgame. I've got other options here, like I can Disruptor Flute for Urza's Saga and Emery and such as well. I don't think it's a mulligan, but I do feel like this can absolutely just die. Basic Plains, pass turn. Turn 3 is kind of awkward in that I would love to do whatever I get with Stoneforge, but slamming Clarion Conqueror may just be correct. Bauble. Alright, we are assembling Metalcraft. Metalcraft is here. There is Welder. There is Emery. Melded Moxite is here. Yeah, I might not be able to get to this before I die. I do have 2 of them. Attempt Stoneforge. Say yes, get Meteor Sword over Batterskull here. Concern is not the life total. The concern is dying to Surveillance Cam Melded Moxite. 2 artifacts currently in play. The Bauble will be the 3rd. Alright, it is Melded Moxite, so this could... Okay, it doesn't. It could have discarded Surveillance Cam to leave me in a pretty bad spot. Alright, we are doing Moxite for Moxite. Dunking a Chromatic Star. Well, assuming no counter magic, Clarion Conqueror does serious work on this board. Hopefully no Surveillance Cam. Okay, yep. So draw. Yeah, I believe that I am doing this here. The upside of this resolving is just borderline that I win the game on the spot. It does make my own Meteor Sword much more awkward, but 2 Clarion Conquerors attacking my opponent for 6 at a time in the air sounds like a win. Alright, Clarion Conqueror gets bounced, unfortunately. So we'll see if I die. Alright, Goblin Welder begins welding. No visible Surveillance Cam yet. Urza Saga. Ori Steelcutter. Sure. So this is Legend Ruling Emery to just get 4 cards deeper. No Surveillance Cam yet. My opponent is through half of their deck without seeing one, which I suppose is lucky for me. The Prowess creatures and Urza Saga. Potentially still a problem even if I stick Clarion Conqueror. I will take 3. Opponent gets a redraw. Flicker Wisp. Okay. I can Meteor Sword and Samurai of the Pale Curtain. Metallic Rebuke is a thing. I think I'm still supposed to do this. Ah, shit. It is the Surveillance Cam. Wait, wasn't I just dead to that on my opponent's turn if they have it, though? So, what's the game plan in doing this here? Like, what can you do with it? You're not casting spells. Oh, are you just going to loot until you find a force effect and then kill me? That makes sense. Oh, you just have the Legion Extruder already. I see. Okay, so I am fully just dead to Sewer Valence Cam looping Legion Extruder. Alright. GG's definitely had other ways to play that one. Like, I can Meteor Sword something and play Samurai of the Pale Curtain. If I cast Samurai of the Pale Curtain, my opponent probably starts to try to combo off, and then I put in Meteor Sword in response and maybe stop them. GG. Alright, final round. I have 3 colorless lands. I cannot cast my spells. This is a forced mulligan. This is a forced mulligan as well. This is a forced mulligan as well. I am now on 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Oh wait, I'm on 4. Hold on. On 4, I probably just get rid of Vial and this land and just try to keep enough mana to work towards Yorion. Flooded Strand. Alright, more mana is not exactly what I'm looking for after those initial mulligans, unfortunately. Let's see what my opponent's got going on. Edge Maze. Are you perhaps show and tell? Signs are pointing towards yes. Strongly towards yes, in fact. Alright. We will put this into play. My opponent's got an Atraxa. I will blow up one of my own lands here. Get a Plains, Flagstones trigger, say yes. Get Meticulous Archive. Say no to yet another Flagstones. Then we see how bad this is. It's pretty bad. That's a Show and Tell and an Omniscience, potentially. Or alternatively, just take the stock up. Alright, Omniscience, Mistrise, Show and Tell, Lotus Petal. Well, I mean, yeah. In we go. 22. I can't stop Show and Tell, but I can force my opponent to use Ancient Tomb for it. Another land, another Lotus Petal. Opponent not taking action here. I can shut off these Lotus Petals that maybe aren't all that important anyway. Attempt, Clarion Conqueror, in play. Opponent can still cast Show and Tell through it though, so not the greatest for me. Mistrise Village. You can't counter, or rather I can't counter, got it. There's Omniscience. There's Stock Up. I'll dismiss all this at this stage. There's Lorien Revealed. There's other Lorien Revealed. 8 cards in hand. All of them are free. There's the One Ring. It's just Fog. It's still quite good as Fog. Ponder. Opponent threw roughly half their deck at this stage. Surely I've got to be dead, right? Yeah. Alright. I mulligan to 4. It was a swift death. GG. And now my cards aren't amazing. I don't think I can really be thinking about any of this stuff. Samurai of the Pale Curtain is a miss here. Scarab Swarm is very slow here. I might play Skateboard as something that I can use to tap down an Atraxa and swing for lethal. Not thrilled about it. Skyclave doesn't have many targets, but removing the One Ring is a pretty big deal. Skateboard's use case might just be too niche to use. Go down like 1 Felia just to make the numbers work here. I have a bunch of things that do stuff in this matchup, but so many of the things that I can do are situational. Like it's possible to line up Witch Enchanter, for example, with my opponent's stuff. Opening hand is mediocre. I don't have Cauldra, and Cauldra is my fastest way to turn Stoneforge into I kill you with this. It does let me get Meteor Sword to hand. Maybe that means it's a keep. It's weird because I have like Thing versus Show and Tell, Thing versus the One Ring, and I just still feel like the hand is utter doo-doo. So hopefully I'm wrong. Force of Will. You've got it. Opponent fetches, prevails, Misty, and pass turn. Sure. Now there starts to be some questions of how do I best play this out. Because like there's this on Show and Tell, there's this for One Ring, there's this on One Ring. I'm always making this land drop. I think I'm going to try and stick a clock. And this hedges against the One Ring as well as Lotus Petal, but is worse than Disruptor Flute at just versus Show and Tell. Alright, cool, cool. Tropical Island. Pass turn. Alright. Now I'm in. We're sending in with this creature and doing like some Disruptor Flute Rishadan stuff. Yeah, that's fine. Upkeep. I will tap down a land. Then I will Disruptor Flute. Getting countered. I'm getting consigned. Alright. Seems good. There is a Mistrise Village. So I have a Flicker Wisp which can get something out of the way for show and tell purposes. I think I'm just playing a safety Clarion Conqueror. And I'm just trying to swing for 6 and then 9. That's my conceptual plan. In we go. Opponent to 11. And an end of turn Brainstorm as well. I will upkeep, port a mana source. There's a Lorien Reveal cycle. Sure, sure, sure. Guess I could do that same thing in the draw step to play around that better. Alright, opponent is just passing the turn. Okay, cool. In for 6 damage. Opponent to 5. Here is a Thalia. Pass turn. Rishadan port yet again. Yeah, and yeah. Did we win? Seems likely, but is not guaranteed. Ancient Tomb into Show and Tell. Potentially still has game here. Alright. We force a game 3. I think I am good with the tools that I have at my disposal. And we just kind of have to hope that the games go like that, where my opponent doesn't do anything too crazy quickly. Alright. I mean, it has a little bit too much colorless mana for my liking, but it has some things to put in off of Show and Tell. It has Felia, Containment Priest. There's stuff to like here. Just feels like my opponent's faster draws do just run me over, though. I don't have like a Deafening Silence or a Wasteland to kind of bridge me to turn 2, as crazy as that sounds to say out loud. Disruptor Flute. Got it. Yes. Simply being on the play here is such a big deal for this matchup. I'm quite scared that I'm just going to die. Like, I have 6 mana worth of stuff in my hand that I would like to do. And I can do something like make a called shot on Disruptor Flute for Show and Tell. And then if my opponent just goes Ancient Tomb One Ring, it's so bad to have done so. I think so this doesn't get consigned. I am going to do it immediately. And let's try to stop the thing that will kill me most quickly. Then maybe have time to set up Felia Containment Priest. I do have to get this show on the road before my opponent can just get enough mana to play Show and Tell through Disruptor Flute. Like, this is a temporary answer, not a permanent one. At the point where I feel like I answer Show and Tell sufficiently with my other cards, I can Felia blink Disruptor Flute. And that is a somewhat reasonable thing to do. Ooh. And Sign is super weird in regards to blinking Disruptor Flute. I think I'm doing it anyway. 17. End step. It is Consign. Very awkward. I think I'm just gonna go to my opponent's turn now. I don't know that this is better than just porting my opponent twice. I'm gonna do that. Opponent fetches. Has Ancient Tomb. Alright, it is Show and Tell. I am attempting Solitude for a creature directly. Success. So now, Show and Tell, Omniscience, Emrakul, Force of Will. Seems like a very strong set of things. Alright, yeah. Ancient Tomb? Yes. Bam. Okay. So, I can port down 2 lands, which still leaves my opponent with enough to cast Show and Tell. Awkward. Notably, the Ancient Tomb that my opponent already had also just meant that, like, 6 for Show and Tell through Disruptor Flute was also a thing. How am I beating the Emrakul extra turn? Probably just by getting more permanents. Yeah. Yeah. In for 5, I will blink out my Vial just to put a counter on Felia. There's 16. I think I'm going to cast this under the assumption that it becomes countered by Force of Will. Does not. Alright. Felia thing happens. Go to my opponent's turn. I'm not taking them off of mana, like enough mana to keep Show and Tell from being castable, so I'm going to keep them off of something that casts a Ponder or Brainstorm or whatever first, although they can still just do this. There's a Gonjo. I know they have Omniscience Emrakul. I have enough permanents that I can answer this current problem. It's when there's something else that follows up the Emrakul that it becomes problematic, because I can just Felia, blink Emrakul, Containment Priest keeps it from coming back. Annihilate 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Flagstones trigger. Yes. Do Meticulous Archive. Raucous. That is kind of good. I'm going to take that in case there's like an Atraxa blocker situation. All right, down to 8. There's the 1 ring. Opponent draws a card. Ooh, it's my turn. Combat. That is a Sink into Stupor on my Felia, meaning that I don't get the on-attack trigger. So I can bounce the Emrakul, my opponent recasts it, and the extra turn gets me, unfortunately. GG. We come up a little short there. There were other ways to navigate that game for sure. We've got a 2-3 finish to this league. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I think normal D&T is a very bad deck to play in Legacy. And this is normal mono white D&T where you have additional hoops to jump through to cast your spells. And I feel like you're missing some tools that might be useful at the cost of playing things that are kind of cute. Scott, I don't know that the payoff of playing the cute cards that can, in some instances, if everything lines up super, super well, be incredibly good. I don't know if the payoff is there versus just playing a more stock list. So I just grabbed a random list from MTG Top 8 here. Is the upside of the cards that are in the deck that we played today, our White Jund deck, is the upside of those higher than the upside of things like Thoughtseize and Orcish Bowmasters and Overlord of the Baelmerk? And we are also missing out on pre-war formal wear. We don't have access to Lion Sash as a tutor target. We instead have Samurai of the Pale Curtain. Like, in the very fast combo metagame that we live in, how necessary is Thoughtseize? I know our matchups today were more on the fair side than not, but even the energy matchup that we played in rounds 1 and 2 was also just incredibly fast, right? I don't know that I want to be the deck that is attempting to Rashadan Port using 2 of my mana to play no cards. I don't know that I want to be the deck that is looking to drag the game on long enough that this as a fog is reasonable. And I have a bunch of colorless cards that don't cast my spell in a format where you just cannot afford to stumble right now. I think I'm overall going to give this one a thumbs down because this is so close to existing lists that I think are more optimal. I don't know that you can get away with doing this many cute things at the same time. Like, if you want to play a cheeky skateboard, go for it. A cheeky Scarab Swarm or Metamorph, go for it. Samurai of the Pale Curtain, go for it. Do you get Kor Haven Skateboard, Ghost Quarter, Flagstones, Metamorph, Scarab Swarm, Containment Priest, I don't even know the names of these cards, Hour of Reckoning, Sunscour, all at the same time? I feel like you are trying too many things for the sake of being unique, rather than just playing the things that have been established and proven themselves. Especially with things like Hour of Revelation. I don't think that's very castable on this mana base. And I'm not sure if you can get away with pitching 2 cards for the board wipe that also might take about 2 of your cards with it on average, especially when those like sideboard sorceries aren't tutorable, unlike some of the other things in the deck. We played reasonable rounds of Magic today, but I would say that overall I am not excited about this specific build. Alright folks, if you have any thoughts for Scott, throw them down in the comments below, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day. See ya!